Hello guys, welcome to my web development series for absolute beginners to web design and web development. This series would not require any old knowledge about HTML and CSS. Firstly, we will be learning how to write the code for making a website and then how to upload it on the web so everyone on the internet can easily access it. So, in this video, we will be clearing the concepts of what is HTML and CSS. Now, what is HTML? HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. It means that it is a markup language which have hypertext or links. HTML describes the structure of a web page. HTML elements tell the browser how to display the content. HTML elements are represented by tags which are written in angular brackets. HTML consists of a series of elements. HTML tags label pieces of content such as heading, paragraph, table, and so on. Browsers do not display the HTML tags but use them to render the content of the page. Actually, the browser do not show the tags but use them like the instructions for the web page. HTML documents are saved with the extension .html or .html. HTML was made by Tim Berners-Lee in 1990. So this is an example of code on the screen, how actually the HTML code looks like. The HTML code starts by HTML tag, as in the example all the tags in the HTML are written with the angular brackets, the name like the HTML is within angular brackets, first left angular bracket and then the right angular bracket. Then we need a head tag which contains the CSS and title of the web page. The title is written in title tag. After the head tag is completed, comes the body tag where all the data of the web page comes in it. Finally, we close the tags by writing the name of the tag with a front slash before the name inside the tag. Making a website by using HTML is interesting. By writing proper code, we can make a professional website by ourselves. What is CSS? CSS refers to cascading style sheets. CSS describes how HTML elements are to be displayed on the screen. CSS saves a lot of work. It can control the layout of multiple web pages all at once by using an external CSS style sheet. CSS is a presentation language created to style the appearance of content, for example, fonts or colors. External style sheets are stored in CSS files with the extension .css and was made by Hakon Lai in 1996. Now this is an example of CSS external style sheet. We can also design our web page directly by HTML, but that looks a bit ugly, so CSS files are a better option. In CSS, there are three types of it: inline, embedded or internal, and external CSS. The first, inline CSS, is used to style a specific HTML element. For this CSS style, you will only need to add the style attribute to each HTML tag without using selectors. This CSS type is not recommended as each HTML tag needs to be styled individually. Managing your website may become too hard if you only use inline CSS. However, in HTML can be useful in some situations. For example, in cases where you need to apply styles for a single element only. The advantages of inline CSS are that you can easily and quickly insert CSS rules to an HTML page. That's why this method is useful for testing or previewing the changes and performing quick fixes to your website. There are some disadvantages of inline CSS too. Adding CSS rules to every HTML element is time consuming and makes your HTML structure messy. Styling multiple elements can affect your page size and download time. Now this is an example of inline CSS with the output. The second, internal or embedded CSS requires to add style tag in the head section of your HTML document. This CSS is an effective method of styling a single page. This creates a simple location where you can easily write the CSS for a document while comparing it to the HTML document. It is simpler to use than both inline and external CSS. Advantages of internal CSS are that you can use class and ID selectors in this style sheet. Since you will only add the code within the same HTML file, you don't need to upload multiple files on the internet. Disadvantages of internal CSS. Adding the code to the HTML document can increase the page size and loading time. It makes the document little messy. This is an example of HTML document with internal CSS code. It also have the output for the following code. External CSS. You can link your web pages to an external CSS file. This CSS type is more efficient method, especially for styling a large website by editing one .css file. You can change your entire site at once. There are advantages of external CSS. Since the CSS code is in a separate document, your HTML files will have a cleaner structure and are smaller in size. You can use the same .css file for multiple pages. The disadvantages of external CSS are there. Your pages may not be rendered correctly until the external CSS is loaded. Multiple .css files can increase your site's download time. This is an example of CSS code with an external style sheet. HTML have some requirements too. It needs a web browser in which the output would be displayed. You can use Chrome, Firefox, Internet Explorer, Edge, Safari, and etc. For writing the code of HTML and CSS, we need a text editor. We can use Komodo, Visual Studio, Brackets, JEdit, and Notepad 2 for writing the HTML code. This is it for today, and we will meet in the next video. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe.